Let's prune this vine together. First thing we want to do is find our renewal spurs from last year. We've got one here, and then on this side they've left one up the top in here, just at the back. Now we want to first lock in our spurs so we have our renewal spurs sorted. So I'm going to take from here, I go bud. If I take bud 2 and 3, that spur is getting very high. So I'm going to take 0 and 1 this year, right there. 0 and 1 sorted. And then on the left hand side, now because the spur from last year wasn't too good, it's pretty high, and they haven't actually started the branching process on this vine, I'm going to take this water shoot in here and I'm going to use that as our new renewal spur. So the option would be either go 0 and 1 or 2 and 3. If I went 2 and 3, it becomes a pretty long spur position, so I'm going to go 0 and 1 this year in there. And then now all we need to do is choose our 2 fruiting canes, left and right, remove everything else off and clean the vine up. So I'm going to pause, go ahead and do that. All right, now we have our vine cleaned up. So I've left a renewal spur here, continuing that branching, fruiting cane off that onto the wire. On the left side, I've got a renewal spur in line with the sap flow coming off a water chute here. Right in there. Bud 0, bud 1. I've taken a fruiting cane from the spur they left last year, which was in a not too good position at the back, but it's good enough for a fruiting cane. So that's on the wire. As you can see, I had to do 2 return cuts to remove last year's fruiting canes. I've left a stub of wood for the dry back to happen. It's about 1 centimetre thick in diameter for these, so that's come back, and then that will dry back. Next year we'll lop that off, that goes. And any other water shoots and dead wood I've tried to clean up as much as I can, and we are starting to get that branching system happening. Next year we'll continue the branching off this spur position, continue off this one. If I have a water shoot come out of here, I'll potentially take that and start the branching down here, so I have a more even vine, but realistically it doesn't matter. We'll continue branching off here each year, and it is far enough below the wire for us to continue the branching year on year without it getting above the wire. The last thing I want to note is up here we've got a big long stub of wood that ideally would like to remove, but it's probably about a 50-cent coin in diameter, so really about that big. And if I was to try and cut it with my secateurs, it'd probably hurt my hand. So if I need to remove it, I need to follow the same rules as 3 times the diameter. So if it's 5 centimeters across, I need to leave 15 centimeters in length for it to dry back. So 5, 10, 15. So essentially I'd want to cut it there, and I'd probably want to cut it and paint it with a fungicide style paint like green seal. Cut it, paint it, let it dry back. Next year, cut off the dead wood until it's fully back into there. And then in this crown section, we will have all of our stubs, and then we'll start branching out following the sap flow underneath from the other spur positions. There we go. Another messy vine, cleaned up. We're starting the process. It didn't take much to get that going. Next year we'll follow the system and follow the branching and continue it year on year.